guys, if you're new to Deception Bites, hit the like and subscribe button and be sure to hit the bell to be notified of future videos. If you wish to support the channel, the links are in the description below. Now, fasten your seatbelt. Here we go. Okay guys, here we go. We are here for another rousing rendition of Q-Related News. I told you after the last video I just uploaded the Q post, and I thought I was going to make some applesauce in between that video and this video, but then I thought, you know what, the apples will wait. But I know some of you, if you see a video from me, you think you need to stay up and watch it, or so you've said. So I don't want anybody to miss their sleep because of me, so I'm posting a little bit earlier than I would have. Anyway, let's get into the Q-related news. I do have a very chatty cat beside me, and her name is Picasso, and she is being very, very chatty. So if you hear her, that is what you're hearing. Let's get into it here as soon as I find where I've put this. Here it is. Hi, Picasso. Are you going to say hello? Well, come here. Come on. I think they'll wait for a minute if you want to come up. I think that, oh, I know. Oh, it's so sad being you. Oh, it's hard life, isn't it? She's a little chatty tonight. All right, anyway, let's get into this. Now, this first one, I thought this was interesting. I grabbed it from the board, the HN board, and it's from an Anon, and it said, "Is this why Hannity has been pushing this Santa story as of late, making it a point to say Santa is real multiple times? Q, is Santa ready to deliver? What do we want for Christmas?" You know, things like that. So I do tend to think that it has something to do with the whole JFK thing and not so much Q, but I guess we'll find out. And I thought this was very good as well because it was a picture with everybody named that was at the funeral. And let me make this bigger. I know that some of you are on your tablets and phones. Here's Chelsea Clinton way back here. This I would assume is Chelsea. And Ivanka is here as well. And in the second row, you've got Al Gore. Jill Biden, the wife of Joe Biden, although why she stays with him when he has to molest anything that is wearing pants or a skirt. I mean, it doesn't matter if you're a boy or girl. If you're young, his hands are all over you. Anyway, there's Jill Biden and Joe Biden and Lynn Cheney, Dick Cheney, Marilyn Quayle and Dan Quayle, Karen Pence and Mike Pence. And then in the first row, of course, we've got President Donald Trump and First Lady Melania, Barack Obama, Michelle Obama, Bill Clinton, Hillary Clinton, Jimmy Carter, Rosalind Carter. So I did see some people claiming that Jimmy Carter was not at the funeral, and that is not correct. He was definitely at the funeral. He is in his 90s, but he was definitely at the funeral. So as far as I know, the people that received envelopes were Hillary. I'm not sure if Bill did. Hillary did. Joe Biden did. Not sure about Cheney or Quayle, but Karen Pence did. And we know that Jeb Bush did. Well, not Jeb Bush, but we know that Laura Bush did because she showed something to Jeb, which caused him immediately to freak out. So got some interesting dynamics happening at that funeral. Now, did they use the fact that all these people were gathered together in one place to deliver these indictments? It's possible. It's possible. Now, what the thought that went through my mind is this. You've got Q saying, you know, well played, Deep State, and then allow us to counter. I think that they knew all along that the Deep State would pull this. I really do. I think they knew the Deep State would pull that, and so they planned to do something on that day. Now, some people say that while people were in the funeral, that their homes were raided. I don't know. I don't see any evidence of that whatsoever. And you do have to be careful because there are people in the community, the Q community or the Anon community or what have you, that will claim that they're part of the movement, but they are sowing disinformation. That's why I do try to correct myself if I find out I'm wrong about something, and that's why I encourage everybody to put comments below in beneath the videos, because people comb through those, and it's important, because if I say something wrong, there's always people to correct me, and I'm very thankful for that, because I don't want wrong information going out there. It's one thing if you're genuinely mistaken about something and you come back and say, you know what, I found out more information and I was wrong about that. That's one thing, but some people are purposefully putting out information to have people like myself and other YouTubers talk about it. Then they can point and say, well, see, those people are crazy. They're tinfoil hat wearing, whatever. So just want to warn you of that. Now, I have seen no evidence that anyone's home was raided. And if you have, please put a link to it or let me know in the comments below, because I'm willing to consider that. But I believe that they were given subpoenas or indictments. It's one or the other as far as I'm concerned. But one can never be 100% sure unless we know for sure. And we don't. So let's go up here. I don't want to miss anything, so let me see this. Can't remember what this is. Oh yes, it's this. All right. According to Q posts and video, Hillary and Jeb were served at the founder of the New World Order's funeral. It sounds right to me. On board, QAnon drained the deep state. Now let's watch this. I don't think there's any sound. There's no sound to it, so.
In an understated way,
maybe there is.
To his character. As for what we can expect to see,
I'm going to take it back to the beginning so you don't miss it. Now, you know what? I'm going to turn this down because it makes it easier to focus on the optics and not on what is being said. Because what is being said is not important here. It's actually the optics that we're looking at, how Hillary Clinton reacts to getting that envelope. So watch her. I'm taking it back to the beginning here and turning off the sound. Okay, here we go. Now, there she is with her head up in the air, all, pompous. And you'll notice that Barack Obama had that same look, that pompous look with his head pushed way up in the air, looking down his nose. And there's a reason why you call that looking down your nose at somebody, because that's generally what pompous people do. They have their head up in the air like this, and they literally look down their nose at you. So let's watch here. Here she is before she receives it. She's looking around. She's looking back. Then she looks down at the papers that she has in her hand, and an envelope falls out. Then she looks at it. Looks at this envelope. And she puts it down very quickly and puts it back in there, probably so nobody can see it. And here's Jimmy Carter looking on. He's curious. And there's Obama with his head still up in the air. And there's Mike Pence, because they've probably received, when you go to a funeral or anything, you get an order of service, so you know what's coming next. Well, that is what they had in their hands. It's an order of service. But tucked in that order of service was this envelope. And they all kind of discovered it at the same time. Or maybe one person discovered it and the buzz caused other people to look and see if they had one. And Mike Pence, his wife, received one. So here he is looking a little perplexed. And Obama didn't see if he got one. There's Bill Clinton talking to Mishel. It's interesting. Now, this is very interesting too. It's a collection of pictures that were taken. Now, let me see if I can make this a little bit bigger for you. And I can. Look at that. Look at how powerful I am. Look what I can do. All right. So here is Joe Biden and his wife. And they look completely gobsmacked. I believe this is Hillary Clinton turning around and talking to them, and they both look, he's got it in his hand. Joe Biden has the envelope in his hand, and her mouth is open, incredulous, so is his, and Hillary Clinton has turned around to say something to Joe Biden and his wife. Barack Obama here doesn't say much to anybody. In fact, he is just pompous enough to not even look, because maybe it's not that he didn't receive an envelope. Maybe he just didn't look, because I don't even see him looking in the papers. So maybe he figured, I'm going to get one. I'm not going to look. I'm not going to give them the satisfaction of knowing that I've received it. That's my take on it. I could be wrong. And this is very fascinating. Hang on. Let me go back. We got to make this real big. Whoops. Look what I can do. All right. And can we get over more? See, I hate it trying to make these bigger. In Twitter, it just doesn't work well. Control. I wish I could find a better picture of this. I really do, because that one shows all the optics of who's looking at who and everything, but I can't find a picture that I can blow up. If I could find it in its original habitat. Shh, there it is, and it's in its original habitat. I don't know. I don't even know where that came from. I'm just being silly. But here is the Hildebeest. And there she is, and she's looking down, and we saw her. There she is, pulling open the envelope. Wish I could find this picture made bigger. I really do, because it is very worth seeing. I'm going to try it one more time. It didn't make it too much bigger, but let me try one more time. I'm sorry to belabor this, but I really want you to see this if you haven't already. It's out there on Twitter. There's different people that have been tweeting it and retweeting it, so it is out there, but in case you hadn't seen it, I wanted to be sure that you did. I just can't, I can't do it from here. So I'm not gonna waste time trying. Anyway, there's a lot of information in that funeral, and of who's interacting with who's looking at who, what looks they're giving, everything. It's a lot there, and I'm gonna have to go out and see if there are any videos on YouTube that are talking about the body language, because there are some people. I think there's one called Lombard's body language that I have listened to that's very good, and there's a few other people that do that as well, including myself, but I don't really do it here. But anyway, let's go down, and it says John Huber about to become a household name in America. But if you've followed Q, you've already known that for over 8 months now. That's correct. We do. It's amazing how many people don't even know who Huber is. We do. We do because of Q. All right, and then Clinton Foundation whistleblowers have come forward with 3 people have come forward with hundreds of pages of evidence of potential wrongdoing by the Clinton Foundation, including misappropriation of funds. Let's get rid of that. And breaking, a federal court blasted the DOJ and State Department on Hillary Clinton's email and ordered a discovery plan in 10 days as to whether Hillary's private email system was intentionally set up to invade Freedom of Information Act requests and lawsuits. Nothing happening? There's lots happening. Lots and lots. You just have to look for it. And here is another one, and this is that same picture, maybe a little bit bigger. Joe Biden and Hillary Rodham Clinton got envelopes at the funeral. Hillary Rodham Clinton had no reaction. Oh, I wouldn't say that. I wouldn't say that she had no reaction. Jeb Bush's got a photo of house being raided by FBI is the word. And again, see, that is what they're saying, but I see no evidence of that. I don't see any evidence of that. So, and you know what? I don't know if they would actually literally raid somebody's house while they were at the funeral of their father. I know these people are evil and have done some really wicked deeds, but that is heartless, absolutely, positively heartless. And I'm just saying, two wrongs don't make a right. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know if I find that hard to believe that they would raid their house while they're at a funeral. That's just me. But who knows? I don't believe it until I see evidence of it. Let's just put it that way. And here is another one. Now, this is by the same person, Jack Lee, QFD, Shadow Band. And I don't know who this person is, but I did like this, that they tweeted out. It says, Donald J. Trump, fake news, the enemy of the people. And on December the 2nd, Q said, ask yourself a very simple question. Why is there a total and complete mainstream media blackout regarding France, Belgium, Germany, EU riots, etc.? When you are awake, you can see clearly. Fake news equals enemy of the people. And Donald J. Trump said the same thing. So it's just more proof of Q, which we have proof and proof and proof and proof, but those that don't have eyes to see and ears to hear won't believe it. Now, I love these people that put comments below and say, well, did you ever think that this is a psyop? Oh gosh, no, it never crossed my mind. Of course I think that. Of course I've thought about that. And it could be. We don't know, but we do know that the things that Q says are happening, okay? So, you know, we want these people brought to justice, absolutely. Now, I've questioned this before, what the end game is, because it seems to me that Q is wanting a world order the same as the globalists want a world order. It just, who's going to control it? Now, if you think that, oh, well, as long as the good guys control it, it's okay, then you probably haven't read the Bible. And I'm not saying that. I'm not using that as that can come across like I'm sounding snotty or that I know more than you. No, not at all. Some are believers, and that's fine. I am a believer. I believe the Bible. I have studied it extensively since I was probably in my early 20s. I've been studying it extensively. And when I say extensively, I do mean extensively. So, Scripture does not talk about this glorious one world government prior to the Lord's return. And in fact, that would be setting us up for the Antichrist. And that is a subject for another video, for sure. And if you're interested in me doing that and what I see and what I foresee based on Scripture, then I can do a video like that. But I don't want to do it in this. I don't want to get too much into that here, because we have people here that they want the news and they want to know about Q, but they're not believers. And I have to have, I'm not going to hide the fact, what I believe. I'm not going to hide that fact, but I'm also not wanting to push it down anybody's and proselytize anybody that doesn't want to hear it. So I would rather put it in a separate video so people can choose to hear it rather than sandwich it in. See what I'm saying? All right, I'm going on now. Okay. Oh my gosh, this is massively important, massively important. And if you have not seen this, you need to, and you need to get this out to other people as well. Okay, this is classic trolling by the mainstream media. Look, this is a still shot from a television, okay? It's a still shot of a television during the funeral. And look what is coming across the news. It says national news, remembering President Trump, Washington, D.C. They trying to program something? Are they trying to let us know what they plan in advance? Because that's what I view it as, and I view that as a direct threat to the president. Don't tell me that's just an error. People don't make errors like that. Not in that. That would be caught so quickly and removed so quickly. No. Remembering President Trump. We can be darn sure that that's what they want. And we can be darn sure that they've tried numerous times, times that we've probably not even aware of. So we need to continue to pray for our president's safety. We don't want a rerun of JFK. We don't need that. That's, oh my gosh, I don't know what would happen to the country. I really don't. I don't know what would happen. So anyway, I saw that, and that concerned me a lot, because I do believe that that's a message to Trump. And I bet you that he heard it loud and clear and is probably taking precautions. I hope. I'm pretty sure. The people that are around him, I believe, take his safety very seriously. Now, I made this so big that I can't even see what this says. Okay, this is interesting, okay, and this is from a person named Corey. I've just started following them based on this tweet, because if they, oh, darn, here we go. Now, they said, bomb squad is not even in the scene. And of course, he's talking about the CNN offices in New York that were suspiciously raided. They were evacuated due to a bomb threat again. And it says bomb squad is not even in the scene. FBI is going floor to floor raiding the place. There is no bomb. If there were any, they would not be that close. And that's true. You don't stand right outside a building that is reportedly about to explode. Nobody does that. Unless they're, you know, like special. Really, nobody would do that. And he's got a point. Where's the bomb squad? They're not even in the scene. Let's go ahead and play this. It's not very good sound. So the bomb squad isn't even there. It's not even on scene. Why is that? I'll tell you why. I bet you that either there was no bomb and they're covering up for the fact that the FBI is raiding the place. They're not going to get on the news and say, oh, the FBI's raiding us, because that would wake everybody up immediately. They'd be like, why would the FBI be raiding you? What did you do? Right? They're not going to say that. So they're like, oh, we had a bomb threat. And they're all standing outside while the FBI raids the place and goes floor to floor looking for whatever they're looking for. And they say, oh yeah, they're looking for bombs. Well, then why isn't there the bomb squad there? Right? I mean, it seems pretty straightforward to me. So either CNN was covering up for it, or somebody from the good guys called in the bomb threat. I don't know. So that they could get in there to examine floor to floor. I don't know. But I think that they were being raided by the FBI. Possibly the FBI was going in and they came outside and said, oh yeah, it's because of a bomb threat. Because what excuse would they give to the people? They've got to explain it away, right? I don't know. What do you guys think? Put it in the comments below, please. And let's go back. See what other trouble we can get into today, because there's too much. There's more than I can get to, that's for sure. I'm going to come down to this because I think this is very interesting. Let me make it bigger. And I did. Look what I can do. Do you know why? Let's connect the dots. Why does the U.S. government pay almost $300 billion in interest on its national debt every year to a for-profit and privately controlled business, which the Fed is both a for-profit and a privately controlled business, deceptively named the Federal Reserve, which is just as federal as Federal Express is, meaning it's not federal at all, and a company which also refuses to reveal the names of its owners. Although the Constitution clearly says the U.S. Congress can make its own money for the United States people without a middleman and charge ourselves 0% interest. So why aren't we doing that? Why? That is the question. Because these middlemen control nearly every major television station, radio, and major newspaper in our country. And they'll keep you busy talking about irrelevant crap. And they have 300 billion reasons to keep it a secret. That's right, they do. Yeah. You know, I didn't realize that the United States, within their Constitution, they can print money for the use of their own people. Why aren't they doing that? It's a little odd, don't you think? Now we know why President Trump wanted to end the Fed. Now we know why JFK Jr. wanted to end the Fed. Not Jr., JFK that was assassinated. He wanted to end the Fed. That's why. Let's go down to see what else we can get into here. It says, seems like everything is dropping at one time. Hold on tight, my fellow Americans. It's going to be a bumpy ride. Judge orders state and justice departments to reopen Clinton email case. Hillary email case reopened. Judge gives order, reveals, Obama's, I think he's talking about it. I'm not going to go to the article, but it's revealing that Obama played a part in all of that, which we already know. And like this, QAnon predicted my time of death down to the hour and minute. Coincidence? Must be a coincidence. Yeah, how did he do that? Really, all you people that claim that we're absolutely out of our minds for thinking that the deep state might have not assassinated, but had him put to death for treason. It's pretty wild that they were able to predict his death down to the hour and minute, don't you think? I mean, don't you question that? I do. Doesn't make sense to me. I feel like I'm a very reasonable person. So, anyway, let's see what else we can get into here. Oh, yeah. This is very interesting. We're going to touch on the JFK Jr. thing here just briefly. This post from January 13, 2018, for those people that said the video, and I appreciate it. You don't have to agree with me. Don't ever think, oh, I can't put that because I don't agree with her. No. Put how you feel, because that's why we're here. And we don't always agree, and we're not going to. And that's fine. We can still respect each other. But there was some of you that said, I can't buy that about JFK Jr. And you know what? That's why I rejected it for a long time. I wouldn't even look into it, because I said, that is absolutely positively ridiculous, and I'm not wasting my time on that. That was my attitude. Now that I'm into it, I'm like, holy crap, I can't believe how much stuff is out there. Look at this. January 13, 2018, it says, be ready, mainstream media coming big way. But look on the bottom. It says, hello, George. Well, George is the name of the magazine that JFK Jr. Had, and some people claim that the magazine pointed to the fact that George W. Bush Sr. had something to do with his father's death, and that he was trolling them, which that could be. But look at the post number, 529. Okay, I know what you're saying. So, 529. Well, 529 are the call numbers on the plane that reportedly went down carrying JFK Jr. If you don't think somehow that this is alluding to him, I don't know, hello, George. He's talking about the media. Then he says, hello, George, which was the magazine that JFK Jr. Was the editor for. And the post number is 529, and I'm realizing this more and more, that coded within the posts are a lot more information than we were ever aware of, because the numbers matter, everything matters. And I'm realizing that more and more. Those were the call signs. In fact, the numbers on the tail of his plane are N529JK. Probably for John Kennedy. N529JK. This is post number 529, and Q says, hello, George. Now, and here is the plane. And it says, for all the discussions about that plane crash, the fact John had a newer, faster upgrade is often ignored. New, inexperienced pilot, faster plane plays a bigger factor than people would like to believe. I don't feel that crash happened. I don't feel that crash happens if he had the original plane he was learning from. The new one, John never flew solo on. Here is the first plane he had. The registration number is dedicated to his father. And in that, remember that Santa Claus of the United States keeps playing the Tiffany. There's something about that Tiffany blue, because remember during the inauguration, the president, FLOTUS, Melania, had on that beautiful Tiffany colored coat, and she handed Michelle Obama something in a Tiffany box, which Michelle Obama treated like it was a scorpion or something. It was like, I mean, literally, they were trolling them. They sure were. That's exactly what they were doing, because Tiffany, silver, what's silver? 925 is the stamp on silver. It's 529 backwards. 925. I mean, the silver that I'm wearing has the 925 stamp. All silver that's pure has the 925 stamp, 0.925, and it's 529 backwards. Now, I think that there's more to the Tiffany symbolism than that. I think there's a lot more to it, but it's interesting. This is interesting, nonetheless. So there's that. And this as well from Santa Claus of the United States. And if you haven't seen that video, watch that video. You probably might not know what I'm talking about. But anyway, here is Santa Claus of the United States. And this was posted on November 22nd. What happened on November 22nd? That was the murder of JFK in Dallas. And here is Santa Claus of the United States saying, my dad passed away this day a few years ago. I really miss him. And he puts at real Donald Trump at White House. Now, what do you think of that? This was posted November 22nd. This person, who I believe possibly could be JFK Jr., says, my dad passed away this day a few years ago. I really miss him. And he directs it to the White House and President Trump. I don't know. There's a lot to this, Now, let's take this. I can't remember what this is, but let's go out and take a boo. Yeah, again, this is, sorry. Santa Claus of the United States, nice job, thanks for everything. Now, look at this. JFK was fooled by you. Remember 35, I think JFK was the 35th president, wasn't he? I can't remember now, but I think he was. I'm not sure, but I think he was. All right. It says, NASA, nice job. Thanks for everything. We trust you. JFK was fooled by you. Remember 35. Twitter blocking. George H.W. Bush funeral. Thank you, Al Gore, for inventing the World Wide Web. I mean, he's trolling big time. We love the truth. Read my lips. 55 years is long enough. It has been 55 years since, on November 22nd, it was 55 years since the murder of JFK. And here is Santa Claus of the United States And remember, we had Santa Claus giving out stuff at the Trump rallies, same person, saying, NASA, nice job. Thanks for everything. We trust you. JFK was fooled by you. Remember 35? Twitter blocking. George H.W. Bush funeral. Thank you, Al Gore, for inventing the World Wide Web. We love the truth. Read my lips. 55 years is long enough. Now, wasn't it George W. Bush Sr. that said, read my lips, no new taxes? Yeah, he's saying 55 years is long enough. Read my lips. And SCOTUS at Real Donald Trump at White House at NSA Gov, hashtag Q. Now let's look at what he's pointing at. It says NASA mourns the death of President H.W. Bush. Let's look at this. And there, this in the wheelchair is George Herbert Walker Bush. And it says Timothy Peake visited the International Space Station on 15th of December 2015. Tim returned to Earth on 18th of June 2016. We're going to see some interesting things here. Now, this is Senior Bush, and some people have claimed this could be JFK Jr.'s son. I don't know. I don't know who is wheeling Bush, but anyway, he's coming into NASA here. And this is an older video. I mean, because he didn't look that good when he died. They're wheeling him in. Sorry. See this guy back here? Pay attention to that guy right there. Looks like he's in front of a green screen type thing to me. See? It's like he's pretending to be in space, like they can see the gravity, anti-gravity. And there he is. It's like, and do you remember when that little boy asked Buzz Aldrin, why hasn't anybody been to the moon in such a long time? And listen to what he answered.
That's not an 8-year-old's question. That's my question. I want to know what I think I know. Because we didn't go there, and we didn't go there.
He's clearly saying we didn't go there.
And that's the way it happened. And if it didn't happen, it's nice to know why it didn't happen. So
if it didn't happen, it's nice to know why it didn't happen.
We want to keep doing something. We need to know why something stopped in the past if we want to keep it going.
True. NASA, never a straight answer. So there's some really interesting stuff on this person's Twitter. And if you follow it, you're going to get pretty deep down the rabbit trail. And if you are on Twitter, make sure you follow me. I am Mishel, M-I-S-H-E-L-D, capital D, Bytes, B-Y-T-E-S. And I would love to have you follow me. And if you let me know that you want me to follow you back, I will. And if I don't respond right away, be patient and send me another message because, you know, it gets crazy sometimes. All right, let's go back and see what else we can get into. That is the wrong. We are over here. There we are. And I said this is important too, so let's take a look at this. There's so much news and I've only touched like a tiny, tiny, tiny bit of it. Okay. This is from Brian Cates, I think you would pronounce his name. And it says, boom, the answer to the second question may reside in 6,000 pages of evidence attached to a whistleblower submission filed secretly more than a year ago with the IRS and FBI. And feds received whistleblower evidence in 2017 alleging Clinton. Evidence amassed by private investigators should give Congress plenty to explore at a hearing next week. When did Huber and that team of crack U.S. attorneys he's leading begin their investigation into the Clinton Foundation? About a year ago. Remember, in his letter back in March, Sessions was just revealing Huber and his team were working in tandem with Horowitz. Huber and his team of U.S. attorneys didn't start working in tandem with Horowitz and his IG team back in March of this year. Sessions revealed that they were already working together and nothing leaked. You didn't hear a thing about it because nobody outside the people leading the investigation and the investigative teams was supposed to know a thing about it for over a year. And it says, for God's sakes, please let that sink in at last. What have I said for a year and a half? These people don't leak. Stop telling yourself nothing is happening because they won't call press conferences and alert everybody, even the people they are targeting, about what they are doing. They will roll it out when they are ready. And now they're ready. Last night at John Solomon Reports revealed Nunes had asked Trump to declassify a crucial Spygate email chain from inside the DOJ's NSD, where they were discussing how they knew the Steele dossier was unverified or fake. Today, he drops this news. For a year, you couldn't get anybody at the DOJ to even acknowledge that the Clinton email investigation had been reopened and that Huber and his team were digging into the Clinton Foundation, and then all of a sudden, they have no problem publicly talking about it. Why? I mean, do I have to draw a picture here? Do I have to spell everything out? It's over. The investigation is over. So now it's time to go public with it. That's why all this whistleblower stuff is surfacing now, and Huber's coming to talk to Congress. And catch this part, the FBI and the IRS had these whistleblower documents over a year ago. Whoever ordered that FBI raid to try to grab the documents got burned. Sessions, Horowitz, Huber, and Trump had all this stuff long ago. I told you, all the doom criers have been wrong about Rod Rosenstein. Let's hope so. As wrong as can be. That will continue to be borne out. He's been overseeing all these investigations that will now begin to surface publicly. He's been overseeing investigations into Hillary's email server, Clinton Foundation, as well as leak hunting investigations, some of which went right into the U.S. Congress itself. He had no problem with Horowitz surfacing last December to hand off some Spygate evidence to Congress, but he said for a freaking year now that there were ongoing investigations and documentary evidence from those investigations would only be given to that leaking sieve known as Congress if it wouldn't jeopardize the ongoing investigations. For a year, he said this. And for a year, grandstanding members of Congress have wailed and screamed about how Rosenstein won't give them all the documents they are demanding to see. Ever try to explain to a screaming child why they can't have something they want? Right now, this instant, that's been Rod Rosenstein's job since last December. Horowitz handed off some of the Spygate evidence, and what happened? Much of it was instantly leaked, including the entire unredacted Carter Page FISA warrant, which Wolf gave to New York Times reporter Ali Watkins. I patiently explained several times why Rosenstein decided at that point nothing else was going to be given to these grandstanding leakers. I hate grandstanding leakers. They're the worst of all leakers. Until the investigation was over. I did so here. Rod Rosenstein, the man with the most thankless job in America, news analysis. You may have noticed over the past year there's a formal dance underway between the blah, blah, blah. And again here, the circus of confusion and chaos that hangs around Rosenstein. When this is all over and it's been rolled out and laid out where the public can see it, a whole lot of people are going to owe Rod Rosenstein an apology. Well, if that's the case, I'd be the first one standing in line to apologize. So, Oh, where did I go? Okay. So, let me see. So let's sum up what just dropped in the past 2 weeks. Huber's team has been investigating the Clinton Foundation. That means the email investigation was reopened. There's a DOJ NSD email chain proving plotters knew Steele dossier was fake and that it came from Hillary. Somebody got tricked into raiding a whistleblower's house to try to grab 6,000 documents on Clinton Foundation shenanigans that the FBI and IRS had over a year ago, and the plotters didn't know this. And I just noticed this. Read this section of Solomon's latest report carefully. It explains how Sessions Trump set this up so nobody inside the federal government got wind of it until it was ready. All those inside sources that could leak it were frozen out. The answer to the second question, may reside in the 6,000 pages. We've already read all that. A private firm called MDA Analytics, run by accomplished ex-federal criminal investigators. Boom, shakalaka, boom. I want to read that again. Boom, shakalaka, boom. I like that. I might say it again. Boom, shakalaka. Okay. Early on, the most sensitive, I'm a logophile. I don't know if you know what a logophile is. It's somebody that loves words. That's probably why I have my master's in English. I love words, and I love the way that they sound, and I love everything about them. Boom, shakalaka. So there. And don't forget, Papadopoulos. Boom, shakalaka. Okay, I'm done now. Okay, I've had my fun. Yeah, I know. It doesn't matter that people are listening to me. It's me. It's what you get. What you see is what you get. All right. Early on, the most sensitive evidence gathering investigative work was farmed out to private firms run by former federal attorneys, investigator, and spooks. No wonder the usual leaking channels were useless to tip off the plotters. The usual tripwires were bypassed. And the IRS people who declined to investigate this, they're now trapped too. They had no idea what the DOJ was actually doing. Look for a whole bunch of people suddenly exit the IRS, either fired or resigning. Note that this section reveals last week Huber's guy calling MDA Analytics for a copy of their whistleblower evidence led to MDA informing Huber's team, oh hey, we gave that stuff to both the FBI and the IRS a year ago. Ha ha ha. Oh, I like the boom shakalaka better than the ha ha ha. Pants are filling all over DC. Yes, I bet you they are filling quickly. I wish back a year ago when all this started coming out and I started, reading about Q, I wish I had invested in Depends. Well, now it's just Depend. It used to be, in my reality anyway, it used to be Depends underwear, which who wants an adult underwear called Depends? I want one called For Sure. I'm just saying, especially, if it's number 2, that's really embarrassing. So if I needed that, which I don't, thank the good Lord. But if I did, I would want a product called For Sure. Any plotters inside the DOJ, FBI, IRS who still thought that evidence wasn't known about and who instantly set up a raid of the whistleblower's house once they found out he supposedly still had it, are crapping their pants today. What? A year ago? They've never dealt with anybody like Trump and his team before. Oh, you can say that again. They've never dealt with anybody like Trump and his team before. Sessions and Rosenstein and Horowitz and Huber have rolled them all. Yes, they have. Using private firms, no leak, avoiding the plotters' tripwires. Brilliant. Simply brilliant. Oh, yes, it is. I agree. Now, it is getting late, but we've already looked at James Comey's brother. And we've looked at that as well. But what is this? And there's a lot of other news articles that I'm going to save for another day because it'll just take too long. And I think we have enough stuff here. Now, this is interesting. This is I don't know how to pronounce her name, but I do follow her on Twitter. It says, still don't like Q? You will. Mueller withheld evidence that would have cleared Trump. He knew the wrong Michael Cohen was implicated. He knew the wrong Michael Cohen was implicated in the fake Steele or dossier because Donald J. Trump's Michael Cohen was able to prove using his passport that he never traveled to Prague. What is this getting into here? What's really happening here is Saul Alinsky's rules for radical at work. Blame them for what you're doing, and that's exactly what they do. I don't know. I think I'm going to skip this for tonight. If you want to, you can see what this person's name is, and you can go out to her Twitter. I do follow her on Twitter, but this is very long, and it's going to take too long to get into. I don't want my videos to be, people complain when they're an hour, and rightfully so, but I definitely don't want them more than that. So I think, let me just see if there's anything else that I have skipped here that I think is really critical. And I wonder what these pictures are. To me, it seems like they were important for some reason. Ah, it's this. Remember I was saying I wish I had this picture to show you about the funeral? Well, here it is, and here is one I can make bigger. So, good. Now, let me just make it a tiny bit bigger so we can really see it, because I know some of you are. Okay, here is, let me see here, it says Laura. Okay, this is Laura Bush right here. And she has her hand on her chest, and she's looking at the coffin here. And here is the agent that is probably assigned. They usually sit at the end of a row like that. And I only know that because I saw Ronald Reagan in person. I went to, I was invited to a World Congress on Evangelism, and I was there from Canada. That was when I was very, very young. Very young. But anyway, I knew that because all the ends of the rows all had Secret Service agents. So that's pretty common. And here is her Secret Service agent or whoever, or he may just be there protecting the group of them. I'm sure there's many more than one. And so here she's looking at the coffin. Now, this agent hands something off to her, okay? And over here, I gotta make this smaller so we can get this in. Okay. And here the handoff has been made, which it's kind of hard to tell because it's happening right behind this guy with the hat who's carrying the coffin. Now let's come down here. And Laura, which you can just barely see here, is taking that initial look at the document, okay? Because obviously if somebody hands you something, especially at a funeral, you're going to look at it. And this face says everything, everything. She looks absolutely, that is a look of real shock. Real shock, like perhaps like shock when somebody's been killed in front of you or whatever. It's just absolute devastation. That is what I read from that look. It's just horror. Shock at what she's seeing. Now over here, we have, this is Jeb right here, and he's smiling and he's got his hand on his chest. Look at how patriotic I am, and I love America, and I'd still like to be president someday, even though I've got no energy and I'm just low energy Jeb, but I want to be president, so I'm just smiling. But Laura here shows him something, and to me that does not look like a picture like people are saying. That looks like a document. Shows Jeb, and here is an agent, and this says he's staring at George W. Bush. I don't know about that. I don't see that he's staring at. And then it says this agent stares at the camera, which he appears to be looking at the camera. Okay, who cares? Now, let's come down here. Now, Jeb glances and does a double take, and I saw that on the film as well. If I can find the clip, I will show it to you guys, not today, but in a subsequent video. But he's smiling, and he's like, and then all of a sudden he looks, and he looks again, and the devastation comes over his hand. The hand drops from his chest. He too is gobsmacked. So Jeb glances, does a double take, glare at POTUS while Jeb comes to realization of what he just saw. Now look at that face. And she's looking at President Trump. And you can see the seething hatred there and the absolute devastation, which is whatever they gave to her. It's a really bad time for it. But I'm not going to judge because I don't know the ins and outs of all this and what went on. But she is glaring at Donald Trump here, and she still has that look of shock and devastation. And now, I don't know. I don't even have the words to describe this. But then Laura to JW, and I saw this, and he does answer, yep, you can see it. Laura says to her husband, George Bush, is this real? And JW says, yep. Interesting. And then after he says that, he bows his head like he's resigned to whatever fate. Now, and of course, Jeb, when he sees it, he's responding in absolute shock. They all. This is shock and disgust. Here's Jeb, probably still in disbelief. And here's George W. Bush, acceptance, possible cooperation. Now, if you ask me, and this is just an opinion, I think George Bush Jr. is cooperating. That's what I believe. Now, I don't have any proof. It's a feeling. It's a feeling I have. Agent 2 watching for signals, and here's an agent, acceptance, okay, and then here's Jeb Bush, and he's looking at the agent here. And let's come down. And here it says stiff with fear. I don't know if he's stiff with fear, but I think that it shocked them, and I do think that fear is starting to grip them. But and says here, and she looks even more devastated here, like she's on the verge of crying. Says realization that George W. Bush flipped. I don't know. We don't have evidence of that. There's no evidence that he is flipped. But it says that his look is shame and acceptance. Now, I would agree with that. He looks ashamed, and he does look like he's just accepted the fate. But Laura Bush looks absolutely... I honestly feel sorry for her here. And I'm sorry. I'm human. I know these people have done whatever, but they're still human beings. And I don't like to see anybody suffer. I really don't. So it doesn't mean that I think that they should be just let off like, oh, they apologize, let them run their, run on, go do your thing. No, they need to pay the consequences for what they've done, just like you and I. I mean, if we run a red light, we pay the consequences. We could say we're sorry to the officer, but the officer's still going to give us a ticket, right? So there you go. I think that's very interesting. And let's go back because I want to see, I might have missed some other really good stuff here. And then we're going to wrap it up and put a bow on it. And here is a close-up of Joe Biden getting this envelope and her wife looking at it. And it looks like she's talking to, I don't know who this is right there, but they're probably thinking at this point, and here's Hillary Clinton that has turned around. So they're probably conferring with one another and saying, I got an envelope. Did you? Like, I'm sure that's what anybody would do in that situation. I know if I was at a funeral and I opened it up and I got an envelope, I would start looking around going, who else got this? I think you guys probably would too. Now, let's go back and let's look at this picture. It's the same thing. It's just a different angle. So there you go. A lot went on at that funeral, my friends. I'm quite convinced. Let me see what this is. I don't think I looked at this. Has something to do with JFK, so let's look. Oh, yes. Tiffany silver pieces. The purity mark will be either 925 or sterling, shown on jewelry in commercial. Remember we looked at that commercial in the video on SCOTUS, and it says JFK Jr. plain numbers N529, so at least numbers match, silver. So, and of course the song that they're singing in the Tiffany and Company commercial is Believe in Dreams. So, a Tiffany holiday. Are we going to have a Tiffany holiday? Are we going to get something revealed to us that we could only imagine in our dreams? I think there's a very strong possibility. We can hope. All right. I'm going to call it a night, although I've got a ton more. Let me see this too. I want to look at this too. And then we'll call it a night. We'll just stand up in a big circle and say night. We'll call it a night. I don't know. I get very, very strange. The more time goes on at night, I get stranger and stranger. And the more tired I am, the more bizarre I get. So that is another reason why I think it's a good idea to wrap it up. Okay, this is just the YouTube channel for I Am SCOTUS, and I would recommend that you check it out. Oh my gosh. They only had like, I don't know what, just a handful of subscribers. Now they're up to 1,252 subscribers. So people are catching on there, catching on. All right. Well, it's time for us all to call it a night. Well, not all of us, because some of you stay up late, and I am going to be staying up late too, because I'm going to be making applesauce and then doing some more research. So that's it. I hope you guys have a wonderful night. I hope you sleep well, stay safe, and I'll talk to you guys real soon. I appreciate all of you guys. I appreciate your comments, and most of all, I appreciate your encouragement. Thank you so much. Talk to you guys later.